What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You already know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe to stay updated with everything that is happening with this channel. Guys, welcome back. If you're here, you made it to episode 2 of Brownie Points. This is the show where we literally save the brown people, all of South Asian people who are trying to go into medicine, doctors, engineers, lawyers. There's another way, and we bring in people to show that that is actually possible. Guys, I'm so excited to bring in this next guest because she's actually a friend of mine who I met on TikTok, and she does a lot of amazing things. She's such a hardworking girl, and she is the founder of South Asian Productions, which is just online with what we do here. Guys, it's Trisha Batra. Trisha, welcome to the show.
Yeah, no,
see what I mean when I go
much.
like all crazy like this?
Go for it, go for it. I'm all about the energy.
Oh my gosh. Hey, yo, thank you so much for being here. Honestly, thank you for taking the time to do this. And it's actually kind of nice to, like, you know, finally get to see you like in person, like talk, because I know we've sort of like talked on like social media and everything, but it's really cool to actually get to meet you. And I'm sure, like, you know, through this interview I'll get to know you much better.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's weird. I feel like ever since quarantine started, I have met so many cool people, but it's all through like social media and like DMs and just like comments, but I've never really got to like sit down and have like a one-on-one or like a Zoom meeting. I don't know why I haven't like made that effort to do that, but no.
No, I know. I feel that though. It's so hard to nowadays, like, you know, it's just like, it's such a weird thing, but it's like, hey, like, let's FaceTime, let's do this, and now it's like, hey, let's do a Zoom, like, or like let's go on a Zoom call real quick. It's like now it's become such a verb that like it's just so actively used now. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know, I kind of want to talk to you about, like, let's like take it back. You know, when you were like younger, like who were you? Like, what kind of person were you like growing up? Were you like always a creative, or like did you kind of find that over time?
So I grew up not very academically inclined.
Gotcha.
So what my parents did was that they put me in a ton of sports, and like activities and like all of this cool stuff. That way, like I could find like some confidence in myself that I was like good at something. So I grew up playing soccer, softball. I was on a swim team.
Wow.
And I don't know, just being active was like something that made me truly happy. I was very interested in like a non-traditional career path that most of my friends were pursuing. So for example, when I was growing up, that common question would come like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And all my friends would be like, I want to be a doctor. And I was like, I don't really want to do that. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be on like TV, or I'm gonna be like in sports entertainment, or I don't know what I would do. I was like, I wanted to be a YouTuber at one point. Like I just was always inclined to a different career. The reason why I don't say I'm like a creative necessarily is because I just feel like there's so many like amazing creatives, and I'm constantly learning from them, but it's definitely a field I was like always interested in.
That's so cool, actually. Were you like open about like the fact that you wanted to be on TV and like YouTube? Like, did you talk to your parents about that and everything, or was that kind of stuff like an internal like thing that you wanted to do?
It was very internal. So my parents, they were both engineers, and they would support me in everything that I did, but they thought like to a certain point or like at a certain age, I would just kind of forget about it and go to a more of a traditional path. So yeah, no, it honestly came within me. I was just, again, like academics were not a strong point of mine. So I wanted to do something that I was good at and that I could be proud of and that I could put my effort into. So like when I told my parents like, hey, this is like something I'm genuinely interested in, they were like, okay, like go ahead, do it, as long as you have like some sort of like stability. Go for it. So that's
so cool. And it's nice that honestly your parents were super supportive about that path, like that sort of career. Now when you say like when you were talking about like when your parents were like, you know, I'm all for it, was that specifically for like the movie thing, or like was that for just pursuing everything but the academics, like in like terms in like that and like that entertainment like field, right? Like going in that direction.
Yeah. So my like stable path. So I currently work in like this field called robotic process automation.
Yeah.
And that field is kind of like my stable 9 to 5, and that was kind of like what I was like preparing for. I thought like, okay, I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna learn business and computer science. So that was like that part of my life.
Gotcha.
And then following my heart, it was like so many different fields I wanted to do. I was interested in acting. I was able to sign with a modeling agency in LA, so I got like exposed to that type, like the industry.
Sure.
I met so many cool like TV writers, filmmakers, directors, producers. So like that kind of gave me some interest in entertainment. I'm trying to figure out what exactly I would like to do in entertainment.
Sure.
But it's something that I've always been interested in. It's just that when I was pursuing business and computer science, that path was so linear that I was like, okay, like, I don't know, I like the stability, and it's just like, you know what to expect when you're when you're pursuing a non-traditional career like entertainment or just content creating. You don't know what the next step is, and you don't know how your life really is or like how it'll be planned out. So I'm opening myself to everything right now. I'm just doing photo shoots to build my portfolio. And just connecting with actors and actresses that are in the industry just for fun to see if I'd be interested in that field.
That's so, and you're in California?
Yes.
Gotcha. That's the place. That's where I want to be. Like, I don't know if you know this. I'm like literally like trailing your footsteps here because I'm a signed actor here. I'm in Michigan, but I'm signed in Chicago. So like I've done like that. I've literally like acting was my passion. I mean, still kind of is. But like it kind of now sort of diverted to more like content creation rather than like act. I mean, like I love to act, but like from like the actual film and television, it kind of switched to like, oh, like I want to make my own kind of thing. And so I don't know. It's kind of funny that like you mentioned like, you know, you getting into like that creative stuff, because that's literally like what I feel right now. But it's nice that you had the stability though, like with computer science and tech.
It's honestly, I think it comes from my upbringing of my parents to always chase after stability. But I'm so jealous of people like you and for others that are like following their dreams. I know so many talented people that I met. I like to call it like the Basie Brown community on TikTok. But you guys are so talented and funny, and like I just hope that one day that I could even like start a talent agency or connect you guys with like people in the industry. Like that is kind of like a part that I wanted to add to South Asian productions, not only to support just South Asian talent by utilizing social media, but a ways for you to actually get opportunities. And I think right now is the perfect time because we are seeing so much diverse talent. And the more that I talk to people who are like directors, filmmakers, producers, and writers, they're so open to hearing South Asian stories. And I know Netflix has like, I mean, with Never Have I Ever and like Indian matchmaking, they're definitely like opening themselves up and being more broad. So yeah, no, I think that'd be really cool.
Was that so like, I mean, let's talk while we're on the subject of South Asian productions, might as well get into it. So like, I guess like, was that sort of the reasoning as to why you wanted to start South Asian productions, more so like your interest in that whole talent management scene?
It is such a crazy story.
Oh, I love a good crazy story.
Yeah, so it was my senior year of college. It was my last quarter. So I graduated in June 2019. And
where did you go, by the way?
Yeah, I went to UCR, so University of California, Riverside. It's
nice.
One of the schools in the UC system.
Gotcha.
And yeah, no, it was really, really fun. I loved my friends there. It was such a good experience. But
amazing.
My senior year, my last quarter, I had realized that, you know, I don't know if I'm going to work in tech for the rest of my life. It was kind of at that point where I was like, kind of like hyperventilating. I was like, holy crap, like, yes, that made my life stable, but like I did not listen to my heart at all throughout this whole process. And school is such a nice safety net. Like you don't really realize, like, I don't know, like that adult world exists. Like you're just like, oh my God, I go to school, I go to class, like
I hear that. That's so true.
yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah, and that was like my thought process. But during like that last quarter, I was like, oh my gosh, like real life is gonna hit. And I was like at a party, and it was like my last party. So I had a lot of fun with a couple of my friends, and I was talking with my friends as well. And I was like, oh, like, what are you doing after you graduate? Like, this is such an exciting time, but also a scary time. And they were telling me, like, Trisha, like, I'm just going to go into law school or like investment banking. Like, I don't want to waste my time pursuing a career that I know that A, is unstable. 2, there's like a lack of representation. And 3, like, it's a lot of time, and I don't have that time to dedicate to that craft while managing a 9-to-5. And that was like so heartbreaking because these people, they were so talented. So I was like, you are literally wasting like God's like given talent. Like you, I don't know, like it was, I easily could see them on like Broadway, or I could see them like in TV, film, etc. And they would constantly like tell me, Trisha, like, stop motivating us. Like, we don't need that. And then I come back home, and I was like, I love business. I loved reading about like, I don't know, I loved my strategy class in college, and I would constantly just read Harvard Business Review, Wall Street Journal, Forbes, all of that good stuff. And a topic came up of like multimedia companies. And so I was studying that topic at the same time. And I was like, I wasn't even like completely in my senses when I created this, but I was so motivated that I wanted to create a platform for South Asian creatives, entrepreneurs, and entertainers to feel that motivation to pursue what they really wanted to pursue. And so I started like reading about all these companies like Her Campus Media, The Gist. And then I was like, let me build like a digital online platform or like an entertainment hub where I would have like a podcast and a newsletter. So that's how I was like thinking about it. And then I started to host like these coffee with creative workshops all around the US. So the connections that I made through modeling, I was able to use those connections to reach out to like a lot of people around the US and Canada. And at that point, like so many creatives or like South Asian creatives were coming together, having these conversations about like how to not only change our mindset that we are only meant for careers in medicine and tech, but also how can we support each other as a community to pursue creative careers. So that's how it started to happen. So I was like, okay, we have a podcast, we have a newsletter, and now we're going to have Coffee with Creative workshops where we kind of mentor our community, or I bring someone from the industry to kind of give people advice. Then a couple of people from UC Berkeley and USC started to notice the Instagram page because I was very active in showcasing talent. And that's how most people know what South Asian Productions is by the Instagram page. And they were like, oh, wow, like we didn't know all the work that you were doing. Like, can you like tell us a little bit more? So then I ended up giving speeches at those schools. And I connected with so many college students, that wanted to be involved. So I met this girl, her name is Pooja Nair, and she was at USC. She was from UCLA, but she was supporting her friends at USC. And she was like, I really want to be involved. Like, I really just want to like, write articles. I don't know what you're doing, but somehow. So I come back that night and I'm like, I want to create a college ambassador program where we could have like actual clubs on camp, like around the country or like even around the world, of people who live outside of South Asia to somehow be involved and have their voices heard. So I onboarded a operations manager, and she's in charge of that college ambassador program. And she onboards these clubs, and then she gives like, you know, brainstorms articles with them. And then I take those articles and I kind of upload them to our website. But so far we have like 20 plus campus clubs, and we've just reached 100 responses. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like, it's growing at a point where I'm just like, holy crap, like I didn't expect it to go this, or like expand to this level. And we're going to continue to expand, which is really crazy, but that's kind of like how I built this platform. And then I realized that through building this platform, I needed to connect with creatives or content creators, understand their struggles. How can I be a helping hand in any way possible? Because then it's like, I can't be a part of a movement if I'm not really a creative myself and like don't really understand the struggles of being a creative entertainer, entrepreneur. Yeah, so that's how I got so involved with all of you guys and started like reaching out to
I remember that.
like,
That was awesome.
Can I feature you and get to know you?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that is
so
like,
kind of like
that
my
is like so
story.
inspirational. That's actually really, really cool. And it's, I feel you, because like I just graduated from Michigan State University just this May. And like I was in the same position as you, where it's like friends doing this, friends doing that. I'm like, wow, like I really don't have like, I mean, like the thing is, I was like, you know, what my heart is with like the creators, like the creative side, right? And it's so hard to come to like terms with it when like, you know, especially being brown on top of everything else is like, you know, you have your parents kind of talking in one ear, and then you have like society talking in another ear, and it's kind of like, oh my gosh, like I'm in this middle where like it's like so hard for me to like take that leap of faith. But it's so cool that you created like this like platform for like South Asian creators, or like just South Asian people getting into that industry and like giving them that voice. That is so cool. And so that started like what, like 2019 or like earlier this year?
Yeah, so this started June 2019. And I like hustled. Like I was like, I don't know, like this was something I was so passionate about. And then when quarantine hit, I was like, I have all this time to make it into something that I would be proud of. So yeah, I took that leap, and now I like hope this becomes like a multimedia company of where we're creating content for the South Asian diaspora that's living outside of South Asia. So people who are South Asian that live in the US, Canada, Australia, Europe, where they could feel like they are going to this like platform for that representation that was lacking. Because I don't want to wait for that representation to happen. Yes, we're slowly making moves, but I think this would just be beneficial regardless, to have like entertainment hub that, you know, kind of makes people feel like, oh yeah, like, you know, this is my community, this is how I see myself, these are the stories that I want to watch. So yeah, that's everything.
Dude, right on. I love that. That's so cool. Yeah, and I love the idea of just like not waiting and doing your own thing. That's honestly what kind of drove me into content creation instead of like the movies and stuff. I mean, like I am definitely interested in that still, but like it was a lot of like, I mean, you know, probably being a model, like you have to wait for gigs to like, you know, you have to wait for those emails, and that takes so long. And so like I was more into it because of like the idea and the fascination of like being an actor. I'm like, wow, this is like the one job where like you can embody anybody you want to embody. You know, it's like if I want to be an astronaut, I can play an astronaut. If I want to be like a alligator wrangler, I can be that, you know? So it's like these weird like things that like just childhood fantasies that I want to do, like I can do that as an actor, but like I have to wait for an opportunity to come to my door before I can do that. So instead I'm like, let me just create my own thing. I have full control of it. I can hold myself accountable to like make it and do it. And so I don't have to wait for anybody else. And at the end of the day, like in turn, I'm also getting acting practice while doing this. So like it was kind of like a win-win. So it's really cool how like you just decide to just go for it, and like, you know, instead of wait around for like Netflix or whoever to like start like including, you know, like South Asian people in on their platforms. which is
Yeah,
really cool.
absolutely. I think like I don't know if you felt like this growing up, but I just remember in high school, um, it was just like the way, because so I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, um,
Gotcha.
and I just felt like I had to seek for representation in Bollywood, but
Mm.
I am not Indian, right? Like I'm Indian American.
Yeah, yep.
The representation I saw in Western media didn't connect with me, and it slowly like started to build in I would say like people's perception of South Asians in real life,
Mm-hmm.
that we are unattractive, that we I don't know, are just super nerdy, and I felt like that's how people in my high school viewed me until, you know,
Yeah.
everyone went to college and started to be like, I don't know, educate themselves and started to
Yeah,
be more
yeah.
aware. Where like people from high school stopped viewing me in a certain way that South Asians were portrayed in media. So it was like, even like slowly seeing that change, I wanted to kind of do like a 180 and like accelerate
Sure.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was like, yes, I don't want, you know, I don't want my future kids to like
Mm-hmm.
feel like they're not enough, or they're just like they can't pursue careers in the creative space or just like in the media space because of their
Yeah.
physical appearance and like how we or like how they were brought up. And I also want to normalize the fact of seeing South Asians on TV or Netflix, Hulu, all that great stuff. Because
Yeah.
I remember like growing up, and seeing a brown person on TV was so like I was like taken aback. Um, and like sometimes I felt like really scared because I was like in my head, I was like, don't screw up, don't screw up, don't screw up. Like
Oh,
you're
really? Oh,
representing
wow. Yeah,
like
yeah.
our community, right?
Right,
Um,
right.
but you know, I don't want my kids to like see a brown person on TV and have so much like
Like,
anxiety. I
oh
just
my
want
gosh, like,
them,
yeah,
yeah, I just want them to like enjoy the show and not think
yeah.
so much about that particular person that's represented in media.
I hear you. I hear you. And that's, I
Mhm.
kind of want to like dig deeper into like your sort of high school experience because it's kind of different from my high school experience. I had the same sort of thing with like, so I was actually born in Iowa and it was obviously predominantly white. Got a lot of
Yeah,
racism in Iowa, especially like 9/11. Like after that, it was like a disaster. But then from
yeah.
there, I moved to Amsterdam and it was completely like, Amsterdam's like the most liberal place ever. And like I went to an international school, complete coin flip. And then from there, I came to Michigan. And like in Michigan, my high school, like there were so many like Indians and like Desis in my high school. Like our brown community here is so big. So
Mhm.
I had that like experience of like, you know, being with so many brown people that I was able to actually like get closer to my own culture because you know I was kind of all over wishy-washy with it, but, like going from Iowa to Amsterdam to there. So I guess like what was it like, you know, when you were in a predominantly white high school? You know, did you ever get like did you fit in with everybody? Like did you get a lot of racism? Like what I guess like who was Trisha in high school?
And Trisha was not that great in high school. I did not like Trisha in
Mhm.
high school, but um, what I could, I in high school particularly, I became very distant from my culture. Um,
Gotcha.
so instead of focusing on like Indian classical dancing, I focused on Western dancing. So I was like, I'm going to be on my varsity dance team. I want to do cheer. I don't want to be looked at as like a fob. I just like I want to be considered, I don't know, attractive by like guys who
Hmm.
don't even matter. I don't know what I was thinking, but that was just
Right,
like my
right.
thought process.
No, I
Um,
gotcha.
and like I just felt like I couldn't really claim my identity because I was working so hard to not be like the other brown girls at my school.
I
Um,
hear you. I hear you.
yeah, and I think it was because I was like looking for that acceptance so badly
Hmm.
that and getting that like white validation to just be considered, you know, I don't know, like I was cool or I was like a cool person to hang out with. So that's like how I kind of grew up in high school.
Yeah.
And then my senior year of high school, or yeah, I would say like, yeah, my senior year of high school, I started to appreciate my culture more. As I kind of started to, you know, be more serious about my Bollywood dancing classes. So I did take those. And I met a lot of really good friends through that. And I was like explaining my experiences to them, and they kind of related to what I was going through.
Gotcha.
And that's how like I kind of bonded with my community. For the first time, I started to go to Garba, and I freaking love Garba, by the way.
Dude, it seems so awesome. I've never been, and like I would love to just experience that.
You have to experience Garba.
I want to so bad.
Yeah, no, it's so much fun. It's like, oh my gosh, it's just so much fun. I just made so many good memories of like going to Garba and then getting Taco Bell at like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning.
Gosh, that's awesome.
Such good memories. But yeah, no, connecting with my community in that way, I was able to like appreciate my Indian culture. I do struggle sometimes even now to like fully embrace who I am. But I think seeing all of you guys, seeing, you know, people I look up to as well who are like 5 to 6 years older than me doing all this like cool stuff makes me really proud to be brown. So I think high school me, I just like, I just like really struggled with my identity. And then I like slowly started to open up to like face the Indian culture.
Sure. And like honestly, that's not even like atypical. You know, I know so many people, myself included, who have like had that same sort of grapple with, you know, like I assume you were born in the United States, right?
Yeah.
Like living here and like not fitting in with the Americans, but also not like going back to India and not fitting in with the Indians because like you're technically in between. And it's crazy. Like I was sort of the same way, not like so much in high school, but I think it was like a bit before where I was like embarrassed almost to be brown. Like I would tell people that like I'm this race or this, and I felt like so embarrassed because I don't even know why. Like I don't think it was anything like in particular that sort of drove me to that, but like, you know, seeing like my friends, like I guess like it must have been public, like media, right? Like I was just like Zac Efron, right? Like the classic, like blonde hair, blue eyes, like gets all the girls, like the buffest dude, like athletic as hell, like, and I'm like, wow, like I'm complete opposite, like, you know, and like for me, it was like, wow, like, you know, like I can't, like, I just don't want to be like, you know, brown. But then I think when I came to Michigan, I met all like my brown friends and we started doing like a bunch of brown things, like, you know, like going to the temple together. We did like youth camps, like we did so many different things. And then even just like, so I guess like that sort of propelled that interest in me and to like sort of like really own who I am. But then in college, so there was like, we have like this massive like Indian community in college. And my friend, so I ended up living my last year of college and senior year with one of my friends who's like also a videographer, but he's also Indian. And living with an Indian, I was like, wow, this actually like brought us close. We used to do this podcast and we talk a little bit about it on the podcast, but like it brought us so close to our culture because we would talk about just like upbringings and like things like that. And like, I think that's what actually drove me to do TikTok is because like, and do like the brown content because I'm like, wow, like, if he experiences this and like all like our friends, like our brown friends have experienced this, I'm sure like a lot of other people have experienced the same thing. And I don't know, it's so awesome. And I think like you're right, you know, we should be proud to be brown. It's like one of those things where it's like, it's been so shadowed. And I think with South Asian productions, like we're about to come up, like it gives us a gateway to like, you know, to be who we are and like own that. And I think that's so important. Right on, Trisha, dude, we're all rooting for you on my end. I promise you that. And like, I know like we have a ton of mutual friends and they all, believe it or not, have all said such wonderful things about you, which is why like I also wanted to like interview. I'm in like several group chats with like content creators and I was like bringing up the idea of like this show and like they were like, you gotta get Trisha, like you gotta get Trisha, and I'm like, first she's of course gonna be on my list. And so you have so much support. Like there's always gonna be people who talk, and like as a content creator, like I totally get, like I know what you mean, like, and it sucks. It's like, you know, no one likes to receive hate, but like it's just part of the life, you know. And I think like what you're doing is fantastic. Like you're doing it with a good heart. I know the feeling of just like kind of building like a platform and things, and the work that you probably have to put into it is, I can only imagine how much work you put into it. And so like
it's
Don't
so
let that,
hard.
like, don't let the haters get to you. Don't let the haters get to you.
I think like I did I took a step back from my social media because again, like it affected me so much my senior year in
Yeah.
college. And then when I started to see all my friends like blowing up on TikTok and like establishing their brand, I was like, oh my God, like Trisha, like what are you doing? Like you're not like putting effort, like you're not putting yourself out there. And then I had to like take a step back. And I realized like, oh no, like you were having the same thoughts you had in high school, but on something that's like totally like it's just like something else. Like you're just
Yeah.
comparing
Yeah.
again. Um, so yeah, it's so toxic
It's
sometimes
so
to be
toxic.
in that
Yeah, for
mentality.
sure. Oh my
And
gosh,
like
yeah.
I do agree with you. Like I think when we were growing up, yeah, we had social media, but social media wasn't like a big thing. It was like
Yeah, it
something
was like to hang out
for
with
fun.
friends or something. Yeah.
Yeah, like I never had any social media. Like in high school, I had Facebook, and that was basically it. And it was literally to just like chat with people. Like no one was like we weren't all trying to like become famous, create our brands, like do all that
Yeah.
crazy stuff. Like no, it was not like that back in
I
the day.
know.
But
It's
I feel like
insane.
yeah, and then I don't know what happened. I think also like we grew up in a time where YouTube was amazing. Like YouTube
Yeah.
now is like very influencer marketing
Yeah.
driven. Like I don't like YouTube now.
Same,
I
same,
don't know
same.
yeah, like I don't know if you've watched like Wong Fu Productions.
Yes. I loved like Yam Yam F, like those
Yeah,
guys are so Wang Fu is like one of my people that I used to watch on the daily.
all the
Him and like
time.
Niga Higa and like all these different
Yeah.
people. Yo, those are like the OG. I love that. Smosh.
OG.
I don't know if you've ever
Yeah.
seen Smosh, but like they were
I
in
have, I
that mix
have, I
too. Oh
have.
my gosh.
I've binge watched that whole community,
Yeah.
and I hope to recreate that community for our They See community.
Dude, that
So
would
like,
be incredible. That'd be
yeah,
so
like
awesome.
create short films like that all stars us. I don't have like any money, and like at this point, I'm just like losing. But like if I can like get advertising revenue or something, I'll put it
Yeah.
straight into like a YouTube channel, create a team of like actors and actresses that like really are dedicated to this platform,
Yeah.
and like we'll just start creating like original content for our community and have this new like bring that era back
Dude.
of like
That's like
stick and like storytelling, because that's like how I grew up.
yeah.
And to see like all these kids like just fighting for like not that I don't like TikTok. I love TikTok. But
Yeah, yeah.
I appreciate people who create skits like you and to like put in
Thank
that
you. I
effort.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Because at that like it's you're trying to impact someone in a positive way, right?
Mhm.
And I hopefully this doesn't come off wrong in any way. Like it's okay to feel yourself. It's okay to like, you know, post a video of you showcasing like all your favorite outfits. That's not what I'm trying to say.
For sure, for sure.
But it's like that effort that you put into content creating, and how it used to be when I grew up. Like I wish like people would like now would also start looking back at that time
Yeah.
and seeing how content creating really was. And it was so genuine.
I
It
know.
was
So
like
pure.
cloud chasing. Like it was literally like from the heart, like, oh my gosh, like I want to do this because I love to do this. It wasn't because I'm gonna try, like I don't like my 9 to 5 and I want to be like this influencer content creator or
Yeah.
whatever. It wasn't like that at all.
It was so yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow.
So like
Yeah.
that's a time I wish I could go back into. I think like right now, those people who feel that way, and who don't want to be in the content creating scene because they feel like it's this like clout chasing community, right? they're now taking a step further, and they're getting into like stand-up comedy and acting and like that scene, because they're just like, that scene connects with, you know, what they truly love, which is like storytelling, and embodying a character, whatever, because they're sadly realizing that the stuff that they love is not resonating with Gen Z, which sucks.
I know, it's terrible. It's the worst. I feel you. Oh my gosh, Trisha, I couldn't have said it better myself. Like, that's literally, you took like the words out of what I was thinking this entire time. Like, that's so true. Oh my gosh. I feel like we can end this here. I want to like kind of let you, you know, for someone who's watching this, right? Like, who's like younger, you know, kind of in this situation that we both have been in, where it's like kind of finding myself, figuring out, like, do you have any advice for those types of people, you know, kind of grappling with themselves, whether or not they want to take this creative route, despite like the pressures that they might receive by, you know, X, Y, and Z?
Yeah. You, no matter how old you get, you are constantly trying to figure yourself out, because you are constantly changing. To those people that are really interested in content creating, and don't know where to start, I am with you. And I will constantly start to motivate myself to create content as well. But if there's one advice that I could give to that person, who is interested in content creating or creative career, don't put your self-worth on external validation. It will drive you crazy. And I know we had this whole podcast that was solely about that. But, you know, the amount of followers you have does not reflect anything about who you are. It's all vanity. It's nothing to do with, you know, how attractive you are or how funny you are. It's just a stupid algorithm, right? And I would just focus on the community that you want to build and the purpose that you have behind it. And if people don't resonate with it, like, screw them, because if you continue to work on it, you will reach the community that you wanted to reach or that you're looking for. So that's the advice I would give.
That is like the most awesome piece of advice. I think that piece of advice can help so many people, and that is so facts, like so true. Oh my gosh, Trisha, this has been such a great conversation just for me too. Like, learn about you, learn about all the cool stuff that you've been doing, on top of, like, you know, the purpose behind it. I think that's like such a motivational thing for me, and very inspirational. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview with me. I'm so glad that we got to finally like see face to face, like talk. You know, I hope this won't be the last time. We'll definitely have to catch up and do something else soon. Guys, thank you so much for watching. You know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe. If you like to follow this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Turn that notification bell on to stay updated with everything that's happening, because episode 3 of Brownie Points is coming out soon. And if you want to follow Trisha, which first of all, I highly recommend you do. Her links will be in the description below. Take it easy, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and peace.